Hey everyone, welcome to another video. So today we're checking out 3 products from a company called Sodi. They were kind enough to actually send me out a few products for review. They wanted me to check out a couple of their iPhone cases as well as their MacBook stand. So firstly, we'll take a look at the actual MacBook stand. They call this the Eiel gravity stand. Comes packaged fairly simply, just a cardboard box, and it has a little bit of protection inside and then a little leaflet giving you instructions in terms of how to use it, the different sort of setups that you can have with it. Essentially, this is a sort of clamping design. So as you insert the MacBook or any laptop, it's designed for MacBooks, but it will work with anything. It'll sort of clamp the actual laptop. Now, the item that I received wasn't in the best of condition. So as you can see from this clip here, the actual finishing on the edges of the actual aluminium, they look kind of messy. Now, I don't know whether this is the actual machining from when the item was manufactured or whether this has been damaged in transit, but as somebody who works with metal in my day job, this is something that actually stood out to me straight away. So straight up, that's not the best of first impressions. Initially, I thought it was maybe just some wrapping, but I couldn't wipe this off. And as you can see from the zoomed in image, it is something that is definitely permanent. Now, the chamfered edge on the inside, that's a much better finish. And obviously, as you can see from here, it does look really nice and it adds a nice premium touch. It reminds me of the sort of iPhone 5 and 5Ss. A little bit of branding on the front, just on the side. And there's also their sort of quote or trademark on the sort of top, explore the mystery. Which I'm not sure is the best. I don't know whether that's a translation from something else, but I don't think that really adds much to the actual product. They probably just could have stuck with just the actual branding itself. Here you can see how it actually works. So as you insert the MacBook, it will basically clamp the sides in. Now, this obviously works better on a slightly slipperier surface. Now, because the actual carbon fiber table that I've got this on is quite grippy, it did actually inhibit this slightly. It does still work, but as you can see, you kind of have to fight it in order to get it to actually clamp in. I think it does work better when you've got the thinner side of a MacBook or laptop at the bottom, but depending on how the balance of the actual laptop is, you may need to actually put the thicker side at the bottom instead. You can have it just as a MacBook stand like this. You can also have it open and use those rubber pads on the sides to actually keep the laptop open if you've got it connected to a monitor, and then you can also use it to actually store additional devices. So for example, if you want to just use this as your storage, you can put the additional devices on those foots, those rubber foots on the side. Here you can see basically what's going on. It's a very simple design. It's literally just a sort of hinge mechanism at the bottom, and the rubber on the inside is basically what causes it to activate and sort of clamp inwards. This is what I was referring to. So you can basically use it to store a phone, a tablet, something else. Now personally, I wouldn't actually do this because even though that looks kind of cool, the phone is actually resting right against the actual aluminium of the MacBook itself. With the iPad, it was slightly better just because it's against aluminium, but with the phone, it's basically the camera bumps, which anybody that's familiar with the newer phones will know that it actually scratches quite easily. Okay, so coming on to the iPhone cases, so they did send me a invisible case, which is their thinner case, and they did also send me the ring case, which is their MagSafe sort of function case, and I'll show you through the actual imagery what they're about. So out of these two, I actually prefer the darker black one just because of the feel of it, so it's a bit grippier. The invisible case does look cool, and obviously it's a much thinner fit, but the downside of that for me is that it is an absolute fingerprint magnet, whereas the darker case doesn't actually attract fingerprints quite so much. So if it was a day-to-day kind of use, then I'd actually prefer to use the black one. Both of these do have MagSafe built in, and obviously one of them has slightly different functionality to the other in terms of that MagSafe ring. MagSafe on both of these works pretty good. I'd say it's better on the actual black one just because of that additional ring that it's got, and you'll see from the next clip that you can use that ring to actually either use it as a sort of phone holder whilst you're holding it, or use it as a tripod in various different orientations. And it has a little bit of stiffness to the actual hinge on that ring as well, so you can have a few different angles just by tilting that up and down. The buttons on this one were slightly mushy, a little bit disappointing compared to the clear one. Cutouts and everything were fine. It did work with the USB-C cables that I've got, but I would say it's just your average protection kind of case, everyday kind of case. It does work in both landscape as well as portrait and is reasonably stable in both. Now coming on to the clear case, and as you can see, this is a much more slimmed down version. The buttons on this one are actually much better. The buttons on this are sort of floating silver buttons, and that means that you have much better tactile click on this one compared to the black one. The black ones, it works, all the buttons work fine, but this one just has that better tactile click because they're not fixed buttons, they're floating. Cutouts on this one, once again, are pretty good. Obviously you've got all your cutouts at the bottom, and it did work with the USB-C cables that I tested with. Once again, very minimal branding, but it does have that sort of motto on the side of the case as well. Once again, I think they could have done without that. This is the big sort of selling point of this particular case. So unlike the other one where it has the ring to actually work as a tripod or a stand, this actually uses the camera surround to actually do the same thing. So it doubles up as both camera protection as well as a built-in kickstand. So you don't have to have an additional kickstand with you if you do use it for video quite often. Overall, the looks and everything on this are pretty good, but as I said, this one is a fingerprint magnet. I didn't get any of them in the actual initial unboxing and usage, but as soon as I used it for maybe 20-30 minutes, this one was covered in fingerprints. Links for all products will be in the description below. If you have any questions, just drop them in the comment section. I'll do my best to answer them. If you haven't already done so, please do subscribe and turn on notifications for any future videos, and I'd really appreciate if you can give this video a thumbs up as well. And until the next one, thanks very much for watching.